doing this morning?
Good, you?
Better now that I got this thing all figured out.
You got it all figured out now, huh?
Yeah, I was telling my wife, I said, I think maybe that conversation was just for us then.
There you go.
So yeah, I had to bring my Mac downstairs and kind of do a little different setup, but I think we're ready to roll.
I've taken a lot of stuff down, but this is kind of, you can get a view, a little bit of
Oh
different
wow,
photos. I used to get, I've collected over 200 of my own photos and got signatures on them. So,
that's pretty
anyhow,
good.
it'll be interesting to see how this conversation goes, right?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely don't want to try to recreate the last one, but
Right.
a couple things I wouldn't mind hitting on that we talked about, and kind of going from there and seeing what we can come up with this time.
I'm going to be in a little different location this time.
No, no, you're good. So I got my Packer wall behind me this time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got my shirt, my owner shirt.
Where'd you get that one from?
My wife got it for me for Christmas. I think she got it on Etsy.
Ah,
Yeah, nice cheese wedge and owner across it like that. You got a lot of patches on your jerseys there.
on this one, yeah. Yeah, this is one over Diehard Pack fans. They even sell some owner. I even was talking to Joey saying, why don't you promote some of that? He's got a couple, three shirt. He's got, I think, a hoodie and a long sleeve and a t-shirt.
Yeah,
But
I like that shareholder patch.
yeah, again, if you go on the website
You can get
now
the
that you're a shareholder and use you'll see that whole collection of stuff, right?
yeah,
Wish I,
yeah. I was kind of peeking at that.
wish I could get this a little higher. Let me just grab one other thing. Here.
All right, no worries.
I had a friend that flew in from Germany that I've gotten really be close with, and he came in for both games.
Oh,
We
nice.
kept games, right?
Yeah.
He's staying with a friend, and now he's got COVID.
Oh no.
So we were going to meet up 2 days ago, but he realized he was not in a position to probably do that. So
Yeah. Not to me. He's doing all right though, or
yeah, he has no symptoms whatsoever, so that's good.
yeah, that's really good. That's we it came through our house a little bit, and my wife and I got it, and it kicked my butt for about 2 days, but I didn't miss any work. There we go. Now everybody knows who you are.
He, we had it here too, end of December.
Yeah.
We all got tested on the 31st, and then it came back during the game
Mm-hmm.
that we had all four of us had it in my home. So, but my niece was over it pretty quick, and my sister still has some lingering. But it didn't really. It just was. It lasted too. I'm mostly tired. So, did you when you say kicked your butt? What were your symptoms?
So my biggest thing was like through my shoulders, I was
Yep.
super achy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then just a scratchy throat, but more muscle ache for me than anything else. But we went to a family Christmas party, and my brother-in-law is a truck driver, does a bunch of deliveries all over town, and so he got it and didn't know he had it, and so we had our family Christmas party over there. And the next couple of days, I was like, "Gosh, I'm not feeling too hot. My chest is really kind of sore." And then he called, "Oh, by the way, guys, I tested positive for COVID." Like, oh, there we go. So yeah, for about 3 days, it was rough. I didn't miss any work. You know, I work pretty much by myself. There's not a lot of trades that come in and out of the houses when I'm in them, so I just kind of told everybody, hey, just me today. And they've kind of had that protocol since the whole thing. They only want one trade in at a time anyway. But every now and again, someone will try to sneak in and get their stuff done if they're running behind or want to get ahead. So it worked out pretty good. I didn't miss any work, and I was able to kind of just still do what I need to do and then recoup when I got home. But like I said, about 3 days, it was pretty rough for me.
Huh.
So then it kind of passed, but now I got that natural immunity they keep talking about now, so that feels good.
Even there, I've heard some things where your natural immunity. I've seen studies out of the UK where if you're vaxxed and double jabbed and boosted, and if you aren't boosted at all, if you didn't have it at all, and you get natural immunity, that's the best of any of it. I
Yeah.
mean, so if you're all vaxxed up, or if you got natural immunity, but you know, you don't want to tell people to go out and get it and see if you live.
Right. Yeah. Go roll the dice and see how it works for you.
Yeah. But I'll say this. Yeah, when first, and I don't want to get in a lot of this, but when it first came out, you're going to have 2 million dead in a quick time. Yeah, let's all lock down. But now you're going,
Wait a second.
especially this Omicron, you know, uh, and you just hear how, especially teenagers are really struggling living with isolation or masks. So I go, it just seems to be. I think said this.
Yeah.
I was, and I managed in multi-million-dollar systems. And when something's down, you don't take a one single approach. You get multiple people working on multiple things, right?
Right.
So there's just something I don't really understand fully what's going on here. And with a lot of the news sources, it's either all this way or all that way, and it's just
not a lot of in between with them.
right. And you go, I say it all the time. When I had in business, when real money's being lost, I would say, I don't know if I can partner with you until the stuff hits the fan. And then I'll find out. You'll be one of 3 types. You either will be able to roll up your sleeves and think on your feet, and it's a process of elimination. You find out what's not the issue to find out what is.
Right.
Secondly, there'll be the blockers that are either they're afraid or they think they might have caused it, and the people that don't do much. I'd rather either don't do much or roll up your sleeves. That person in between trying to block or misinformation, it just makes things so much tougher.
Yeah, it does. It throws too much uncertainty into anything, any situation, you know. But yeah, it's crazy. I think we're coming in. I think we're getting to the tail end of it. Hopefully, it's kind of done and over with soon. I can't imagine. I think what they're saying, this Omicron variant is kind of becoming more like a common cold, which is what we want, right? We want it just to kind of go by the way of the common cold and everybody be okay. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
yep. Well, I'm glad you're doing good.
Yeah, doing good. Like I said, it was about the beginning of December. Everybody's recouped, and we got it. And I got 2 kids, like I said, in college. I got one at the University of Michigan Law School right now, and then the other one's up at the University of Utah. So he doesn't come home very often. He's the one supposed to do this podcast with me, but can never find the time to do it. And he's like, "Yeah, I'd love to do it."
See, and I know that's where I see so many parents struggle as their kids are starting to spread their wings. And I mean, you're in school. Getting stuff done, trying to study and all that, and then I know you know when you're used to having that close family unit, it's just you want to see them more, but they're also starting to.
It's tough, Steve. I'm telling you, man. It's hard. It's hard not to take it personally.
Yep.
I'm like, what do you mean you're too busy for Dad? Come on.
Cats in the Cradle, right? That song.
Yeah. Hopefully, I don't hear that ringing too much in the back of my mind, but you know, he would come work with me on the summer times. You know, when he's off school, he'd be my helper, and we spent a lot of time together. We always watched games. Well, last year we didn't, but usually we'd sit and watch games together, and you know, it's a good time. It was fun. My daughter's not so much into it. They were when they were younger. More for the food. We would get the food going, and we're having wings. We're having little smokies. What are we doing? We're doing, sandwiches and stuff. They'd get together and do that. But now that my youngest is 18. And so she's always at work or at school or hanging out with her friends. So she kind of comes and goes. Like she hasn't been home all weekend. You know, she won't be home till tomorrow night. Yeah, Sunday night she'll come home. She's just running around with friends, doing cheer comps and that kind of stuff. So it's tough to be empty nesters when you're not quite yet empty nesters. So we're kind of getting a taste of it, which is good. So it's fun. And my wife gets into the games quite a bit. At first she was kind of hesitant, but then she actually gets into it a little more than I do sometimes, which is kind of annoying and kind of cool at the same time. I'm like, babe, calm down, they'll be okay. It was just a first down, we'll get them on the next.
I used to, man, when I was younger, everyone had to be quiet. There was no tip, and I've been able to relax on some of that, but there's definitely times in certain games when you feel it slipping or going the wrong way, and the bigger the game, the harder it is.
Yeah. So we talked about that a little bit last time about getting over that San Fran loss. How you doing with that now?
Now it's just it definitely helps. I usually need about 24 hours now.
Yeah.
Maybe me that much, and I'm not as grumpy as I was. But it's just when you just keep thinking this is the one, especially after he had last year was the one,
Yeah.
and this one, and things did look like they were coming together, and guys were getting back, and I was really disappointed. And I mean, I'm not trying to say anything about him that David couldn't play because I mean, Maker, and I know the other guys stepped up. And you know, there's just certain things. One, I've been complaining. I usually don't even like to complain much or be critical of stuff, but I've been just calling our not so special teams that for 3 years, and this year was even worse. So when you kind of get your eye caught on something, it's kind of like when you have anything. If you have coworkers and all of a sudden you get your eye on the one, you kind of will focus on that one maybe too much.
Right.
And man, time you saw just a little blemish with our special teams, it magnified, and then to have the way it did it in this game, it's just wow.
Yeah, 10 points.
My biggest thing right now, I don't know about you, is what do we do here? Do we lay all our chips in and then put ourselves probably in cap trouble for the next few years, or do we get what we can and start rebuilding? I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions.
Well, I was going to say, as owners now, which I think we can agree we both are, we have a lot of input, right? Or at least we feel like we should.
Right.
You know, I don't know. Like, I'm seeing reports that Adams might be asking for up to $30 million a season.
$30 million.
That's insane to me to pay a wide receiver. I don't know. What's DeAndre Hopkins? Is it like 23, 24? I mean, that's quite a bit over that. And then you got Rodgers coming back and his hit. Well, of course, I think if he comes back, they're going to obviously restructure. I mean, there's always money in the banana stand, so we can get it figured out, I think. But man, that's maybe trade some picks, get a couple guys. I'd like to see Rasul Douglas stay. I'd like to see Whitney Merciless stay. I'd love to see Devondre Campbell stay.
Yep.
I think that'd be a good one. Between the Smith brothers, I mean, Preston held his own this year, and he's definitely cheaper than Za'Darius. But I mean, you know, it's just that becomes that game of cat and mouse almost to try to figure out who can stay, who can go, and who we can afford to let go.
And the Ron Wolf and the model was, you know, you let a guy go a year early than keeping him a year too long.
Right.
So, but yeah, Campbell, you got to lock him up. Preston definitely. I still don't understand why they drop him back in the coverage so much.
I don't either. Unless maybe they're using
trying to
Rashawn.
switch it up, and you're trying to catch lightning in a bottle like BJ Rajay being in a spot exception, but that is not the norm, right? And
yeah, it's definitely the exception, not the rule.
Yeah. So, you know, you just look at stuff, and it just seems, I don't know what it is why we can't get over the hump. And, you know,
it's frustrating.
We all can about things, but we're not in that locker room. I really don't know what's going on, and that's what I've just gotten to be sometimes. You know, Kenny, I'll say this: in my own life, I have spent most of my adult life. A lot of people say, "Be who you want to be. Tell your truth." I've spent a lot of my adult life not being what comes natural to me.
Yeah.
I had some things messed up in my childhood, and I've met enough people and gone to talk. I've known people live far worse, but there are a lot of things that were done to me, and I got some ideas about that. I've had to spend a lot of life changing.
Right.
And where I'm going with all this, there are things even in my own life that happen. I go, how did that happen?
Yeah, where did that come from?
Two of us. I managed good, solid people in very talented, and at times, and man, when a team gets skewed, it takes real work to get them back together. And so I don't really know what's going on in that locker room.
Yeah.
Well, remember when Favre was here, and then after he left, that's when we found out he had that separate locker room. Well, what does that say? You know, you start doing that kind of stuff. Well, I got to be kind of away from my, you know.
I can't relate to these younger guys.
We all want superstars. Wherever we want to work with superstars, but a superstar with an attitude has got to go.
Yeah.
And that's what people say, oh, I want this player or that player. sometimes they're bouncing around for a reason. Yeah, sometimes it's a better paycheck. Yeah, sometimes it's good. But a lot of times, when somebody's got skills and they're willing to let them go,
There's
there's
a
something going on.
look at Antonio Brown.
Oh,
I
classic
mean, come
example.
on, like every time he gets cut or every time some antic comes up, they're like, should the Packers? No, no, we should not. You know, even with Des Bryant, when they were talking about, oh, Des, let's bring Des to. No, I don't want Des.
I
You
didn't want
know,
Dez. I didn't want T.O.
no,
Uh, there's other guys like that. You can just sit there and say that we're just, you know, but we really don't know, right?
no,
So back to this team going, what is that it factor? What is it that causes teams that when they have to, they can get over the edge,
yeah,
that they type games? I mean, you just look at two teams. Cowboys got 14 seconds, didn't get any playoff,
right,
and in their choice of plays and what they did. And Mahomes has 13 seconds, and he got 3 plays off.
right,
That's coaching. That's prepper. You gotta know that when that ball's put down, you gotta hand it to the official. You gotta know when you get tackled, quick run that to the center line, into the middle of the field, the hash mark, and get ready to give it to the official.
yeah,
You know, they're precious. And
yeah.
just
Game of inches
having
and
that in that wherewithal, and I'm a big. I've always been a big Aaron Rodgers backer, and I really do like his play. But there's something here that either we don't have the right combination with him or something that we don't get over the hump. And I just, again, I'd rather take 10 sacks for every interception, but sometimes you got to just take good calculated risks,
yeah,
and we don't just take the right risk at the right times.
right. And that's the thing is you second guess like they were showing that picture of the pass to Adams in double coverage with Lazard in the flat wide open for like we don't know what he saw in the moment and it's so much easier to just look back see a still photograph and be like what was the deal with that
Yeah.
you know
As, as I'm sitting there looking at that film, not having a 300-pound guy ready to hit me in a couple seconds,
exactly like I would have thrown it to Lazard that's what I would have done like we would have done it better
I would have been knocked out in the first series. That's
right
what I would.
it's funny I can't remember when Hundley was playing and he had a bad game and I was like, come on, I can get in there and throw interceptions. Let's do something. You know? I could throw the ball to anybody on the other team, but it's you know we put ourselves in those positions and think we know.
Right.
You know.
So, are you over the game?
Yeah, I used to stew on it. It used to ruin my week, and so I'd stew on it for a while. Now my neighbor across the street has a 49er flag waving, and I'm at the point where I don't want to go tear it down. So that's good. You know, I can let him fly his flag and celebrate his victory, and I'm okay. It's okay. But honestly, I was over it the next day.
Yep.
I had to let it go. So we talked about it before. I had to gain some perspective. I walked away. I missed a lot of the years with Javon Walker. I just didn't watch a lot of football that season. It just didn't really. It was getting to the point where I was noticing a difference. You know, everybody around me would say stuff, and I'd be like, "Oh, come on, you just don't get it." But then I was noticing a difference, and so I kind of took about a year and a half away from the game, and just kind of passively followed, would check the scores, maybe watch the highlights, and that was about it. And then when I got married to my wife, she was like, "Well, this is something you love. Let's just kind of reincorporate it. Let's slowly do it like a family thing." And so it became more of like, let's get the kids involved, and that made it more fun, you know.
Yep.
The NFC Championship game against the Giants when Favre threw that pick, and my boy was probably 6 or 7, and he just busted up into tears. And I thought we were gonna win, and so that like it actually helped me soften the loss because I was comforting him in that moment, and so that kind of helped a lot with my attitude about it and about keeping things in perspective. It's just a game. We're not the players, and so that helped quite a bit. You know, being able to sit down with him at such a young age and explain that to him. It's funny now because we both, when the game gets intense, we'll both start pacing around the room. You know, he's got like long curly hair. Well, not real long, but it's kind of, we call it a Jufro. It's kind of puffy, and he'll just run his fingers through it like this and just kind of hold his hair tight and start pacing the room, and I'll be pacing behind and kind of watching, and so we still get pretty intense about it, but we definitely have gotten to the point where we keep it in perspective and we keep it fun, and it doesn't become a ruin my day kind of thing.
Right. And I think that's just part of the whole maturing process because, and there's so many ups and downs because I grew up, I told you that, you know, my dad worked all the time and we didn't have much, but on
Right.
Sundays we would watch the Packer game. And then years later, after a few moves out of the state and back, I'd go over and watch the game with my dad again. And then friends would come over and we'd all kind of watch it.
Yeah.
And that was still sometimes more intense days. And then there was a period of time where I didn't watch them for about a year because when they lost at the end of the 80s, it was right in there. And they lost a lot. My week was shot. I would just, and even though I could act okay, it just inside I wasn't right.
Right.
And no way to live. I mean, this isn't my livelihood. This isn't when you're being short with your own family. You know, you just said so, and then I slowly kind of came back in, and still even there having to learn how to handle. Yeah, it's cool to get up, but you got to also handle not get too high, and you got to handle the bad beats.
Yeah.
When things don't go, because I've never prayed to win a football game because I know people on the other side are praying for their football team. So it just doesn't make sense with everything else going on in this world. But another thing that helps level me off is, so then I got going to games and then I wasn't with my family.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the pandemic now or this COVID lockdown stuff, then I finally watched the game with my sister, brother, wife, and I, which we haven't been to game together since January 4th, when the first time I wore my owner wedge, January 4th of 98.
Yeah.
Now it takes you all the way to 2021 to be with your family again because I've been going to a lot of games.
Right.
And I just saw a friend last night. So after the time when I sent him over, I forgot I was on a Zoom thing and he was on there and he's a huge, he grew up out west. He's a big 49er fan, a good guy. First thing I said to him says, "You can leave." That was my first thought. And then congratulations. And another side of this thing too, and I've said, I'll sometimes, and I know people want always our team to be at the game, but I go on road games too, and I want to be able to go to a road game, and I want to be able to be safe,
right.
So that I have friends from other teams sit with me, and I always want them to have a good time and be safe. I jokingly say to them, "I hope you have a good time right up until kickoff."
Yeah.
But I have a good friend, Kitten. She is, and she's been around the 49er for a long time, and she goes back to the days where, you know, they were really immersed in them, and her husband. And her husband passed a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows the players. They call her the 49er mom.
Oh, wow.
And she's got health issues, and she has been battling for her life.
Oh,
and
man.
So it's tough when you lose these things, but then I go, I don't know how much more Kitten has left to live. And if I see her team go on, I can focus off losing to the 49ers to focusing on my friend.
Right.
You don't know how many chances you have for any of this stuff. So it is odd, though, that Aaron Rodgers is 0-4 against the 49ers, isn't it?
It is, especially with his statement when he got drafted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, you put that out there, bud. Like, that's a tough one to back up, and it's a tough one. It's a tough one to back up when you put that out there,
but it just shows you how much a team game it is because
totally.
You could hit the best players at quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
Have Jimmy, who you can look at his playoff stats, and you're lucky to say if they're average.
Yeah, they could have won that game with me at quarterback.
You know, so you get the right team, and it's still in the trenches.
Yeah.
If you got O-line and D-line, if you don't have that, I mean, I don't care if it's Brady, Rodgers, anybody. If you're getting banged around, which Rodgers was, it starts playing with your head. I mean, simple football. You don't win games in the first quarter. You bang on them to the point where all of a sudden now they're getting a little gun shy by the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You're down. It's at the end of the day, you can try to be all the finesse you want. football at its core is a physical, hard game. It's
Right.
just it. You can try to do all you want, but it's still a physical, mean physical. I'm going to impose my physical will over your physical will.
Yep. And hope you don't get tired before I do.
Hoping you get tired before I do.
Yeah. Hoping you get tired before I do. Yeah, it's a tough one, man. But yeah, I'm over it now. I'm over
Yep.
it now. So hopefully, who are you pulling for then? Out of
So
these four?
now, I probably was really hoping for the Bills, and that man, I talked to a guy this week. This guy he's got some health problems. He's been to every Bills game at home since they started in 1960
Yeah.
until here because of his health. So he didn't make the last two games at home. And I called him up and I just said, first of all, he just got out of the hospital. So, buddy, I'm glad you're out of the hospital. Dapper Don. And I said, but Don, I'm telling you, my loss was hard. Yours was worse. So I mean, 13 seconds. You think how can you not win the game with 13 seconds? And you talk about second guess. Why didn't you squib it? Why didn't you do this? Why'd you anyhow? Anyhow, who am I rooting for? I'm still. I've always said my AFC team because I've been to the stadium a lot, and I was stationed in Missouri in the Air Force, and then I lived in Omaha. It's probably Kansas City.
Yeah.
So, but Cincinnati's got a great story.
Yeah.
Where they've come from, and all Joe Burrows has gone through, and back in Ohio again. So I like that. I have a really, really good friends that are Ram fans, but I really don't like their owner. So,
the Rams owner?
Be tough there. I got to tell you, I know who I'm not. I'm not rooting for the 49ers.
Yeah. I know who I don't want to win.
But I'll be happy for my friend if that happens. So at the end of the day, I'll probably more lean in towards Kansas City. Who are you?
That's a tough one. So we were definitely going for Bills if we weren't in it. I just can't do the NFC. I can't root for the NFC. My brother and sister-in-law are Charger Rams fans. They're a Charger Rams family. So it's kind of tough. I mean, I like Matt Stafford. I thought he got a raw deal in Detroit for so long, and so for him to get free from that and get to a position where he could actually be on a winning team, you know. But man, I think we're going to pull for the Bengals. I think that's the team that we've kind of settled on. I mean, my team's not in it, so it's hard to like really get too vested in it. But I like the Mahomes.
Got a shirt. Why not us?
Yeah, why not us? Yeah. The Mahomes-Rodgers comparisons are kind of annoying. You know, I think Mahomes brought the no-look pass into the league, all that kind of talk. To me, that kind of is a bit ridiculous when Stafford's been doing it forever. You know, Rodgers done. Favre did it. Everybody's done it. But he's flashy and he's the new toy basically that the kids want to play with. So he gets that attention. So I'm kind of pulling for the Bengals. I like Jamar Chase's story where, you know, he was told he's too small to be a receiver, and he's a pretty good receiver, so he proved some people wrong. So I like that storyline. So I guess I'm rooting for good storylines at this point.
And Joe Burrows, I mean, here's a guy that got bounced around in college, right?
Yeah.
Some didn't want him, some did, you know, and he ended up getting to LSU and then had, you know, probably one of the top seasons ever.
Yeah.
And then vaults him into number one pick and have a little bit of a tough year. And then, man, now in the second year, which is a short time in the NFL, you know, that whole team's rallying together. So,
yeah, I think they were just one player away for a minute. But, yeah, because Burrow just had that senior year, right? Because he was, like I said, bounced around and injured or whatever.
Well, I think Ohio State didn't want him, and then I think he was a backup, and then he transferred, and I think he went to Nebraska, so he didn't have a clear shot in like you think somebody playing at that level now. You think, oh man, he must have been, you know, a top blue chip recruit, and he wasn't.
Yeah, but man, after that senior year, talk about programs second guessing.
Oh yeah,
I bet the Ohio State thought, well, maybe we should have stuck with that guy.
Yeah.
So Are you pretty active on social media?
I used to be, but I'll tell you this: in April of 2020, there were some things that there were some narratives being put out about, you know, hopping out of bats and what I just didn't buy some of this stuff,
Yeah.
and I time to post something that came up fact check. So I said, okay, then I didn't put it up. And at that time, I was believing more of the fact checking, which now we know there's a lot of also they decide what messaging they want to let go too,
Yeah.
uh, and getting to me, knowing that they're pushing stuff, knowing that they're mining the heck out of all. You know, it's all line free isn't free.
Oh yeah.
They're and then I had 5,000 friends, and I was kind of having to always go in and get clean things out for, you know, because I was getting new friends, and all of a sudden they deactivated me, and I've never that count is gone,
Wow.
and they can do that, and you have no recourse,
No.
and then I had it tied to my work email, and I tried for a couple months, and then I retired to go, well, that's gone forever because even if they're trying to notify me now, it's going to a dead email.
Wow.
So that's did it, and then it's such a time waste.
Yeah.
So yes, I do have my own now Stephen M. Tate because my Steve Tate got taken away, and I have a Steve the Owner Tate page,
Mm-hmm.
and more active on Twitter. But that's gotten so much more. There is so much on social media that there is no way anyone would say to your face
Oh no.
that I I have a presence, but I'm on Instagram also, but Steve the Owner Tate there too. But I don't do a lot on them. In
Yeah.
fact, is well, like you and I even trying to communicate, right?
Right.
I did because I just don't. Now I'm a member. I'm in the Pro Football's Ultimate Fan Association, and I help our media person she puts up like 10 posts a day on the page, and then I carry it over to Twitter and to Instagram, and then link it to Twitter. But when I'm on it every day and seeing just there's some good images and good messages, and there's some that just look at me. Just
Right.
so are you still you're real active on Instagram, right?
Yeah. So Instagram's pretty much all I do. I don't have a Facebook. I don't even have a personal Facebook. I just with that whole Congress thing where Zuckerberg went before Congress, I thought this is a guy I don't want having anything of mine. And I know they own Instagram and whatever, but I don't put anything on Instagram. I run the Packer fan page with my boys, Salt City Packer backers, and that's dedicated specifically. The most personal thing I'll do is like, hey, let's wish my son a happy birthday, or something like that. Everything else is just football related, you know. Keep it like that. My personal Instagram, I keep very small. If I don't know you in person, you're not on my personal Instagram, and I think I just kind of keep that in perspective of being genuine. Trying to live my life as authentically as I can, and so I don't follow. I get a lot of spam follows. I block a lot. Once this fan page kind of popped up, we started doing that. Of course, we'd get the smut spam, and that's just annoying. Like it says father son ran page, and you're trying to send me things, and so I blocked a lot of that out. And then I just follow a lot of Packer fans, Packer players, and then here's the thing too, and this is maybe a little bit petty on my behalf, but if you're a Packer player, I'll follow you. But if you're not a Packer player, I generally don't. So like guys that were with the team and then left, I quit following because I want it to be about that. Now I do follow Derek Carr because I really like Derek Carr, and I think I follow J.J. Watt. And other than that, it's all Packer players or Packer fan pages, and that's been a lot of fun. I've been able to connect with some of those guys. We did a jersey giveaway last season, so that was cool. A guy that follows the fan page in California won a Jair Alexander jersey, and so that's a lot of fun. Keeping it in perspective like that, and keeping it fun, and not taking it too seriously. But yeah, some of these fan pages you get on there, man, and you would think they're running the show, man. They know what's going on. But here I will say this: a lot of the information I'll get from those fan pages before it hits NFL or even the Packers. And I'm like, where are these guys getting this information? How did they know? Like when they cut Kingsley Kiki. that was on there a few hours before the actual announcement that they cut Kingsley Kiki. So I thought, where are they getting this stuff, and how do I get it?
And that's where it was interesting too, because I'd go to the Packers used to have some draft parties, and when social media just started going, the TV feed was well behind what the activity was going on at the actual draft.
Right.
And on Twitter, because you could see minutes before who the Packers drafted or who moved or who did what than you would on the TV show.
Wow.
There was even like the time when we were at that Hall of Fame game, and we were supposed to play that game.
Right.
And getting up there, like to get up there, get parked, because it's like Green Bay. It's in a community with houses, and now they've bought up a lot more land, but there used to be a lot more houses back in the day there and stuff, and finding parking and all that was kind of tough. So I'd get up there a couple hours early, and I'm walking in, and it's well an hour before kickoff. Nobody there is saying nothing up, and Twitter's already saying they're not going to play the game because the field isn't right.
Yeah.
Field not right. And sure as the world, it was not announced. We were in the stadium, in the stands, sitting there, been there probably 45 minutes in our seats, and finally, right at 8 o'clock, we're not going to have a game.
That's frustrating.
But social media had it way sooner, so.
Yeah, I'd like to get in on those breaking news things. That'd be kind of nice. Get the scoop.
But then, even there, Adam Schefter at the draft saying Rodgers is not going to play.
Yeah.
And then he did not have a source. He heard things here and there, and he pieced them together, and he decided to put it out there. And that started a whole bunch of, and I say this all the time, of course players have different agendas than management. A player's career is very short.
Right.
Rodgers is the exception to the rule. I mean, he just became the longest standing quarterback in Green Bay history.
Right, yeah.
All 2 years. So that doesn't happen very often. What's the average? About 2.5 years?
Yeah.
And if that second contract, that's when guys make their money, right? Let alone a third, which is very rare. So, these guys, so the players know they got to win now. They got to make their stuff now. So obviously their goals are going to be different than management.
Right.
And that you're going to butt heads a little bit.
Yeah, and you're dealing with personalities, and people. I always say, where there's people, there's poop. So you're dealing with it. You're dealing with somebody.
Here's another line that I say too, working on. Well, poop just happens. I said, no, it doesn't. You stop eating it. There are actions, and there's also reactions.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's always planned, but there is usually some kind of reason you can trace why it came out.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing about poop. You just let it sit, and it gets to be a mess. But with cattle, you take it out and spread it over the fields, and you can have life.
Yeah.
You got to also, it just doesn't happen. There's usually cause and effect.
Yeah.
And it still means you either need to clean it up or you're going to have bigger messes.
For sure. And I think Adam Schefter, I think I did a post about, and he's kind of got a smirk on his face, and I'm like, when a Chicago Bears fan throws a live grenade in your locker room. You know what I mean? I think he was just trying to, and I think they should come up with some kind of journalistic malpractice. It would be nice, to have some accountability, but they just keep pumping these stories out. And
it has gone in a lot of areas with how many different news outlets, with how many different people trying to rise to the top and being driven by profits to get clickbait.
Right.
That gone from fake news to false. They'll be willing to, they have gotten to be where they want to frame a story, they want to make a story, they want to create controversy, they want to create clicks.
Yep. They don't have to be right, they just have to be first.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating.
Right.
It's so frustrating.
I've had a few people get in the media, and I said, and this is why I'm not in. I do know it's your job and you have to do, but I said, I don't mind if you have a strange take if it's what you really believe.
Yeah.
It take ones that they're just trying to get people to get active, right?
Yeah.
Oh, play devil's advocate. I say I find enough of that in the world. Just tell me your thoughts. What do you think?
Right. Be authentic.
Yep. Exactly. That's it.
Yeah.
Or anything. with your team, and that's why I think a lot of us, you know, there are fans that, hey, I don't, of course, I don't agree with everything everyone does. I don't agree with everything I do,
Yeah.
but if it's who you really are, that's a lot more understandable than just the bandwagon fans that are just riding the wave and then gone, you know.
Yep.
And I'll say this: I see a lot of Lambeau, and I've just stopped standing. I know so many fans are great to be there and glad to be there that they don't really know how to be a fan in the stands, and
Uh-huh.
they're yelling on their TV or yelling with their group in the bar. And we will start the wave when we have the ball, and we will be loud when we have the ball. And I've asked a few people, but man, I'm telling you, I've been in games where I've asked them, hey, don't be yelling when we got the ball. Let's yell when they're on the team. Shut up. I paid for my money. Get out of my face. And then they just get mad at you and you go,
All right. Yeah.
for the longest time, almost every year, I would write Mark Murphy, and I would just say, hey, thanks for this, and hopefully we can fix this, and please get better messaging up and telling our fans how to be loud and when to be quiet. They had that one sign for a while, quiet, man at work. What is? Tell them to shut up.
Yeah. Don't be polite about it. That's one thing I did notice when LaFleur came on the scene was he was pretty adamant about now's the time to shut up, and then he'll be on the sideline, and you don't see a lot of NFL coaches doing that. Like, let's get this. Now's the time. Now let's get loud.
I mean, when you're at home and you see your own quarterback having a,
Having to hush the crowd. Yeah.
and then I know when LaFleur said that, and Roger, people got, what are you here telling us what to do? Because we all need coaching. We all need to be part of a team.
Yeah.
And that's where, yes, it's great to have individualism. And yes, you have to have some moxie in this world. But you also got to know how to be the 12th man, the
Yeah.
12th person. And this is what I said. When I travel around, Kansas City is loud.
Right.
And that's open air. The Metrodome and Superdome are loud, but they pipe in noise and have a roof.
Yeah.
But the only time my ears have hurt was in Seattle. Oh yeah, it's built a little bit, but it's open top. It's not a full dome, and the one end's open. And I'll just say this: they stand on their feet and yell their guts out the whole time. The other team. It isn't because of just that structure. Their fans scream their guts out every time the offense on the opposing team has the ball.
Yeah, and they definitely do it right there. That's the first thing that popped in my head was the Seattle. With the way, and I know they said they designed the stadium to reflect sound back down onto the field, and that's great. But you got to have the sound to reflect it. So
exactly. Then why isn't the Superdome and the Metrodome even louder than them? Because that's got the whole thing closed off.
Yeah. Have you been to US Bank Stadium yet?
Yeah, I've been there 2 times.
Yeah, is that one kind of the same thing? I know they pump it in noise and they got that stupid horn going off every 30 seconds, but
yeah, they got the annoying stuff. It isn't that loud. It gets loud in moments, but they're too bad clapping over their heads that they got from Scandinavia.
Yeah, right. They stole their skull chant. Be original, people. Come on. What's the team that you hate the most, and why is it the Minnesota Vikings?
Well, I try not to use that word. I will say this: yes, the longest rivalry is the Bears, but there's been very few over the last 20 years we've had it on the same line. It's mostly because it's come down between us and the Vikings.
Right.
So that there had been our competition in the game. So then it's just funny how the human mind. Once you dislike something, you will find reasons to help justify why you dislike
it. Exactly.
So Roger gets hurt, and then everyone wants to blame them more. I mean, I go back to the '60s where they would pound you and pile drive you,
Right.
So, but that's a good one to grab onto. We can make fun of their chant, and they try to make fun of ours. I've had a Viking friend say, we try to come there and go say no pack no, but it just adds to your noise, so it doesn't help.
Exactly.
and so then that. But I'll tell you what really shocked me more than anything else. Here's let me tell you the reason why it caused me more. The closest I've ever seen to seeing physical fights at Lambeau have been between Viking and Packer fans.
I believe it.
I go into your stadium, I'm going into your home, and I'm going to show a little decorum. I don't get in there and chant on you or do that. Even when the Go Pack gets going, I usually don't do it because I just, if you came into my house and started yelling "Skull" throughout a Packer Viking game, I would probably not put up with it, right?
Yeah.
Friends that say "Skull" now before and after, and I'll say "Skull" back to them, but not during the game.
No.
That's another reason that I've said that. But when I went over to Minnesota, and what got me going on the road is I was looking for Ultimate fans and with the Pro Football Ultimate Fan Association, and I went there and I met. And the first time I walked around twice with my cheese wedge, which I don't usually walk around because there's always somebody trying to knock it off, always somebody getting in your face when you walk around because every fan base has some goofballs in it.
Right. Yeah.
Or you walk around, the better chance you have. But I walked around there and I heard this line twice, and I never heard it ever in my life before. We're Minnesota nice. I'm like, I'd never heard that, but they were. They were friendly, and
Yeah.
I was just walking around, and I was well, and so, and then I've gotten to know on my Facebook page now. There's a lot of Packer friends, but I got a lot of friends from the Viking World Order of all things.
Yeah.
So the one team that I thought, the one team I like to dislike, the one team I just, it's been more on the line, and sometimes they just have had more our numbers. Sometimes I felt like than we should have on them. The two games I went to Bank Stadium, I wanted to go to their home opener like they did in 2003 against us and beat us. I wanted to go there and beat them. We lost those first two times, and walking out of that stadium when you spend the money going the road and you lose, and you go, we shouldn't be losing to these guys, but we do.
Yeah.
It's all that though. It has really helped us getting to know friends, and I've got some really good friends. I've also met a guy that I met some people, and I met some fans that I go, I don't even know how you live in life and how you're so angry and so egotistical. But there's people like that everywhere. So
Yeah, that's true.
Rivalry is the Vikings, and here's what I tell people: when you turn blue, you're getting close to being brain dead. We need to get people out of that.
Yeah.
That purple can get you. You can cause you brain dead. It's bad for your retinas. It just
Yeah.
I joke about that, and I don't own anything purple.
No, me neither.
I own where it's the DeForest Norskis, where they're purple and gold, and they have that Viking symbol. But thank God they're called the Norskis.
Yeah.
And I'm part Norwegian.
Oh, yeah. So you know better. You got the inside track.
So what is your reasons for your
disdain of the Minnesota Vikings? It's the fans. It's got to be the fans. I have two close friends. Well, one close friend and a close acquaintance, and they're both Vikings fans. And my friend, his name's Ben, nicest guy in the world. He was like, he would follow the Vikings, and he'd also follow the Packers because he knew that I liked the Packers. Other than those two guys, I have never ran into a fan base that has accomplished so little and talked so much. And that's frustrating. And I'm not one to talk about 13-time world champion. I mean, you back me in a corner and I'll defend why I root for my team. We're fan owned. We're never going to leave. We're never going to threaten to move. We're always going to be in this small knit community town of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And we're not going to up and move to Baltimore in the middle of the night. Or we're not going to move to LA to Oakland and then back to LA and then to Bay. It's never going to happen. But the Vikings, that's a tough one. The whole Anthony Barr thing with Aaron Rodgers. I got so much flack for that because the kid said, well, he was trying to sack him. And I'm like, did you even watch the game? He was outside the pocket and throwing the ball away and had taken 3 steps. Like, he drove him. He was trying to hurt him. And my daughter did her undergrad at UCLA. So I root for UCLA because of her. And I know Barr went to UCLA, and I'm supposed to like the kid, and he might be a good kid. I don't know. But in that moment, he meant to hurt him.
But here's what I go to. So I'm going to go high school football. One of the best plays I loved to play at was going against a team. I played defensive end, and I was a small kid even playing that. But a lot of teams back then ran the option. And my accountability was pop the quarterback.
Right.
It was football. So when that quarterback came down the line, I was a step on the line edge there and set it. And then he come down there, see me, and he pitched the ball. And the first time he pitches the ball, he's watching the ball.
Pop.
I beat him.
Yeah.
Am I trying to take him out? Well, I'm trying to ring his bell.
Right, but you're not trying to hurt him.
Next time he comes down the line, he sees me. I don't care where that football goes. I don't care what anyone else is doing. I just don't want to be blocked, and I want to hit that quarterback.
Yeah.
Again, he might try to tuck it and go. Bam, I pop him.
Right.
Next down, he sees me there. He's starting to pitch, but he's starting to look at me. And at some point in that game, he's going to be watching me more than the pitch. And the minute that ball hits the ground, I've done my job. I've set that up.
Yep.
And so that's why they have stats about hurries or knockdowns. You want to be hitting a quarterback. Even if you want to hit him throughout that game to get him thinking, God, where's that guy at? Or, hey, So, again, it's a mean, tough game. And I think some of it, I don't want guys to have concussions. And I think that's a lot of problem probably with Antonio Brown, And there are a lot of guys that suffer far more. I know people that personally knew Junior Seau.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's sad. It's sad with that. But still, you're not playing for that play. You're playing to set that up. And that now the way he did some of the stuff afterwards. Now I heard Rodgers. I go, here I am. I'm not playing a game. It's not my livelihood. Rodgers and him are now talking, and they get along with each other.
Yeah.
But again, because it's the Vikings, it helps me put more ammunition because I want to back my reality.
Yeah.
Whether not so. And like I said, I agree. That's what I did. I started getting these, but I living this close. I got a lot of good friends that are Viking fans, and I've stayed in guys' houses. I mean, let me tell you, I got a really good friend. He grew up on the East Coast, but he likes the Minnesota Vikings, and he lives in Florida now.
Yeah.
And I did a Pro Bowl a couple of years ago, the last one that was there, and then go to the Super Bowl that was in Miami, Super Bowl 54. And I was coming down, and I was staying in up Orlando for the thing, and then going down and staying with a Miami friend during the Super Bowl. And this friend cared about me so much that he has this bed, and when he came to my house, he slept in my Packer room.
Yeah.
So I'm going down to his house, and it's not near as decked out as mine, but he went out and got me new Viking sheets because he wanted me to sleep in new sheets.
That was nice of him.
So, I mean, on one hand, it's Viking sheets, so I get, but on the other hand, he went out and got brand new ones because his pail's coming down. So I go, I need to focus more on, he thought about getting new sheets for me versus what the sheets were, right?
Right.
I got to tell you, that's some sheet there.
I probably would have came up with some line about how, I've been having this problem with bedwetting lately. I hope that's okay.
Do that. I'd start saying, I got this rash forming now.
Yeah.
They've slept here. I've had Bear fans. I mean, big fans that, and I don't like the term super or ultimate, that they're really into it, really dedicated, really do. And it doesn't make them better than anyone else. Like I said, the only ones that get me is the bandwagon. They're on and they're off all the time.
Yeah.
But is that I tell them when they slept in the Packer room, I said, well, it's the best night's sleep they've ever had.
Yeah. So you don't like the term super fan then?
No, because it you put a label on anything, and there's some truth and there's some negatives with it, right?
Right.
Stereotypes have some truth, and that is, I've met some people that think they are super fans and they act like they're super fans and they act like hey, we're not the show.
Yeah.
It's the teams, it's the player, and we get to get a little bit of along with it. And I meet people that start thinking they're part of the show, and that's what causes problems for super fans or big fans with teams, because then after a while you got to start handling their personalities too. Ragnar up in Minnesota there, that for 20 years rode the bike out. And,
right.
And then all of a sudden he demanded $20,000, and they were paying him he was getting close to, I heard, hundreds of dollars a game and in free and doing that. But then he came out and demanded $20,000.
Wow.
Well, now you got this personality to deal with, and what do you tell somebody that you've built up because they ride a Harley out, which is from Wisconsin? They ride a Harley out,
right?
And you go, you tell him we're parting ways. And then he goes on CBS. I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
Right after that, it was a Packer Viking game, and it was around the holidays, and he was out walking around in the snow with his Ragnar stuff on, and he takes his, I call it Helga hat, takes that off and drops it in the snow. And when he sees this gift, and he walks over there and opens up the cheese wedge, and he puts it on and goes, "This is really nice," and walks off.
Wow, I did not know that.
Oh yeah, that was, and I go, that's the kind of stuff that hurts because now you've let a lot of your friends down on your team. You've obviously you've taken a shot at the team. You played this goofy game with it, and I know a guy that sued his team over something, and it's just like the owner gear. Yeah, I'm the first guy to wear it, but I'm not and I go, there's 400,000 of us now. Right. I don't know light share, and I've seen more people do it, and they say, imitation is a form of flattery.
Right.
So, and when the Packers started coming out with owner stuff, I first said, I said, well, I wonder where their marketing team came up with this idea. And then secondly, I go, hey, I say to a lot of teams, I go, does your team personalize your clothing? It's because I got shareholders like that patch there.
Yeah.
Or something like have owners. And they have shareholders, but they also have. So I think it's kind of funny. But I'm not the show. It's just as and like I've said before to you when we've talked, people say, well, you're a super fan or you're famous. I said, no, I own a famous wedge.
Yeah.
That's what I own. And I didn't do it out of getting on TV. We told you that, what all started it was back in 97. My mother went out and bought 4 playoff tickets, and we were raised poor. I didn't go to any games for a long time because we didn't have the money. And finally, when I finally got my own career going and could go, that's what got me going in. But I'd never been to a playoff game.
Yeah.
This is already won Super Bowl 31. We know we're going back and winning the next one.
Yeah.
We're going to be 2 and 3 times. We're going for the three-peat. And so we're getting ready, and so she comes to my house, and I open up this box, and my mom doesn't tailgate. And it's got chips and banana in it. I'm going, what is this? And it was for my birthday because the game was on January 4th, and my birthday was January 3rd. And I just happened to turn 40 that weekend. My mom got 4 playoff tickets for the first and second row in the north end zone. Here's another little side thing I didn't say, but the guy she bought them from, I played softball with.
Yeah.
She bought them from the newspaper. She never did tell me what she paid. I'll have to ask my other sibling. My mom's passed, and I'm sitting in my living room, open up this box, and all of a sudden I pull out 4 playoff tickets. And I am looking at these playoff tickets, and I'm telling you, that's another one of those moments. I don't cry, tears got in my eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the run. We're going to be, and I'm in Lambeau for a playoff game, and then I did a dumb guy move. My mom says it's my brother, sister, wife, and I. Well, my brothers and sister into it, but my wife is a real casual football fan. And I looked and I'm thinking, I'm not thinking Steve married to my wife I love. I'm thinking Steve's a Packer fan. I go, that's a playoff ticket. Fran's not going. I'm going to get somebody that really wants to
be there.
And I can see my wife getting kind of teary. And I go, you have just stepped in it, you idiot. So then I got to go, no, dear. No. I want you to go, dear. Yeah. I want you to go. Now, let me tell you the side story. When we finally get there, and now it's our tradition, whenever the Packers score and we're together, we kiss. So I kissed her in Lambeau Field and said, see, this is why it's much better to have you. I don't kiss anybody. I'll hug and high five. So our first playoff kiss was that game. And luckily that game against Tampa Bay, we had a number of them. And so as we're getting ready to go to there, I hadn't even thought about it. I've been wanting, I've collected memorabilia like you have there. And
yeah.
I've done that, and I wanted to have a share of stock just from somebody's name, and I didn't think they'd ever have another share of stock sale again.
Yeah.
They had before I was born, and then they haven't had one. Well, then that's when they came up in 97, had it. So I just got my share of stock in November. I get this playoff tickets in December. We're going to the game in January. They happen to be first and second row. I'm not thinking, hey, I'll do this to get on TV. I'm just thinking, man, I'm a shareholder now, and my sister's making up a banner, the sister that lives with me now, in to see what she's doing. I grab my cheese wedge and going over there, go, I'm an owner, just like Jerry Jones, who I have different thoughts on too, but I just, I'll like some rich owner or something. I'm an owner, just like I walked in there and she's making up this banner. I said, hey, just hand doing with green paint NFL owner. And I if I had it to do it all over, I'd do just owner,
Yeah,
or maybe just GBP owner. But
I like it. I like it. There's not many fans that can say they own an NFL team.
and here's the other thing with it. Then I was really worried over some time would the NFL come and tell me to stop that.
Really? Yeah, I guess that would be a thought.
And so it doesn't say, I don't spell out, and it's not their colors, and I don't have their shield.
Yeah.
So it's a unique thing that we are owners. So I don't know, while there's a lot of legal terms and what we really can do or not. Here's where I felt like I was through the woods. Is we had a shareholder meeting, which is still pretty cool,
Yeah.
and Goodell came there, and they had the NFL Network, and they started to, and they were going to do a show, NFL Network show with Roger Goodell.
Right.
And I mean, a lot of times these question and answer things, I don't like it because most of the time people don't have a question. They want to get up and harp and just say something.
Right. Be on TV.
Yeah, and is there a question in the future here? And a lot of times it's not. And one of them that used to come up all the time at the show me, now that I'm a shareholder, how come I can't get season tickets? Because that was never part of the deal. That's why. So people would do that kind of stuff. But anyhow, so we're there, and this is years before, and when Jerry Kramer still wasn't in the Hall of Fame. And Roger Goodell's there, and he says they're going to have some question and answer time. And I said, I want to ask why Jerry. I want to get his opinion on that. So I got in line there, and I think I was like, I don't know, whatever. I was up early on,
Yeah.
and I got question, here at Lambeau Field and with all the Hall of Famers, why isn't Jerry Kramer in there? And is there something we can do about it? And I had my wedge on it. So I'm on the NFL Network with the commissioner, talking with him. Now he's a little bit away, and he even got a little shot on me at the end. It's kind of go, I just thought about it. And I've met him a few times, whatever. But I was in, and then I never heard anything about it. Nobody said, I said, well, I'm not going to worry about it from here on out. But I always was wondering at some point there in the first 5 years of wearing it, would the NFL come and say, hey, cease and desist?
I think if they did, they'd look pretty petty.
Well, and
that's not like you're marketing.
Here's the other thing. So with that long time, they want to see why there's a need. And there was a time when the Packers stopped Fan Fest, Wayne Sargent and I talked about that. And we talked about we should do something, see if we can get some players together and do something for charity. And that's when the Ultimate Packer Fan started.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimate Packer Fan Connection started, and Wayne's really run that, and he's done website, and I've helped assist with it, and we've had it we had 9 of them, and then COVID, and anyhow, we did that. Our second year of running that, we get called in by the Packers. Jerry, one of the lawyers, wants to talk to us. We go in thinking, hey, maybe this is a chance to partner with the Packers.
Yeah.
We start to talk with them, and finally, after about 10 minutes, go, so how much is your membership dues? We don't have any. Well, how much you making off this? Well, the first one, we lost money.
Yeah.
But we make money. It's going to, we had this charity and this charity. Now it was the new community shelter in Green Bay. It's for the homeless and helping people get back on their feet. And so you could just see after he found out there was no revenue stream, and because we were using the word Packer, but it was for charity, he said, well, I'm not going to give you a cease and desist now, but we'll get back to you in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's 10 years ago. We haven't been back there, so I think if the NFL gets with you've got some kind of revenue stream and you got anything with them. And I've even heard that I've got some friends that, have used Packer in it, their name or anything. And they definitely, if they have any kind of fees or dues, that brings a whole nother thing of talking with them, because the NFL is going to protect their brand.
Right.
And it goes this far. I have a friend that grew up here. He's part of Ojibwe Indian, moved to LA in 20 years, learned how video and editing, and he's a creative guy and a writer and voiceovers and all that kind of stuff. And he came back and he spent, I don't know, like 4 years traveling Wisconsin doing Cheesehead the documentary. Just see is Wisconsin is the place that he still remembered it as and as fun as he had. And I think it should be tourism. And he went around to everybody and he got all sorts of interviews. And then he kept asking if he could come to the Packers. We'll get back to you. We'll get back to you. And finally, at the end, it was no. And secondly, not only that, this is why this is usually the NFL shield there,
Yeah.
and I put a UFA patch over it because if in that documentary, a thing that's promoting really the state of Wisconsin, promoting Cheesehead, promoting Packers, promoting Wisconsin and more, and he had to go through and blur everything out. He even had to blur out the NFL on it. A
Really?
lady, and I had another friend do a little bit, and that's what she had to do on it because you don't want to take on the NFL
No.
because right different. They're going to beat you on that game. They got more. So that's the thing about it. You just go. Most companies would love some free advertising, not the big,
Not the big ones.
not Goliath. Goliath wants money up front.
Yeah. You get a taste, they want a taste of that. Or they at least want to keep you from.
So that's why even that shirt, it's the right colors, but there's no way the NFL can come after that, right?
No, I don't think so. I would hope. I hope I don't get a letter in the mail.
And I had some friends getting, where people were using their image on different sites, and they went and tried to get it to be pulled down, and they said, "Well, you have no legal recourse." And I did for a while have went through the trademarking stuff, but I just said, I'm not gonna, I'm just not gonna. It was a fun thing. It's fun. It's cool to meet other owners. It's cool to meet other that got passion, and you get the different. That's why even like then I started. I didn't go on the road until I got in the Pro PFA UFA, and I started traveling around because I had friends there and getting to see how their tailgate is and what they set up and what they do. And some of them, I'm telling you, they're elaborate, man.
Yeah.
They're really out. And the one guy, Kingsford Kurt in Oakland, when he used to do it when they were there, he has Bad Boys of Barbecue, and it was an amazing tailgate. He would start on Tuesday, and he would slowly build up, and all day Saturday was rubs and smokers and salads and getting it all together for the Sunday game. And he got to the point where the lots only open up a certain time. He'd get up there and they'd open up the lot to let him in early to get all his tents up and everything set up. So he had a kind of unique relationship with them.
Yeah. And I think too, like if you keep it fun, you keep it light, you don't end up being the guy demanding 20 grand.
Right.
But
you've seen people, this is what I say with anyone. People go, "Oh, he's the same old guy." I don't care where your humble beginnings are. If you start making $1 million a year and you start getting popular, your shift, it just changes you. Your demand gets more. You get to be. It's hard to stay. It's hard to stay humble when you're perfect in every way.
That old song. I remember that song.
Yeah. So how do you really stay humble in some of this, and how do you still keep your roots? And I'll tell you how the biggest thing is. Power words, right?
Yep, there you go.
Trust God, clean house, work, and family. Trust God. No, this one is God, family, Packers. God, family, Packers. And I'll tell you, that family part has definitely grown. And to have family members and friends that can hold you accountable, that really can say, "Hey, what was that about?" And you can go, "You know what? You're right. I got a little full of myself there." Or, "Golly, I thought it was this way." I've even had times with my team. One time, I had a really good tech lead, and one day he said, "Can I talk to you about something?" I go, "Yeah." And he started talking about this, and I go, "And I'm thinking about it from this way," and I said this. Mm-hmm. And there was reasons for that. But he was talking about this side of it, which I had no view on.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I just stepped on a bunch of people, didn't I? And he goes, "Yeah."
Yeah. However unintentional, it still kind of happens. Yeah.
Yes, motives are important, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I intended. What's the result?
Exactly.
And let's go to this season. We've had 2 seasons now of really good intentions and a really great buildup and a solid base at 13-3. But the results aren't happening.
Right.
This is a better team, and they really get along, and I've heard how much fun it is, and a team of destiny, and the team of destiny that shows that you can have all that and still come up short.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's baffling. Like how did that happen? How did we let it slip away from us like that?
So there's the thing that I find interesting with the whole God Family Packers, I have my plans, and most of my plans are kind of usually from my bottom up.
Yeah.
They're really, I try to have more, like I said, I work at changing a lot of my core things to be different, but still I get into some selfish modes, and that's what hurts the most, right? When I really think our team, and I'm saying our team, but it's a lot of my feelings
Right.
and my instead of faith. I'll look at the last couple years. Kenny, I spent a lot of years trying to protect my knees, and I did a lot of night hunting for raccoons and up and down the hills and vet for years. Did a lot of softball 3 times a week and every weekend. I got to the point for the last 5 years, my shoulder hurt so bad throwing the ball that I would try not to go home, but every now and then I'd crank that ball and my shoulder felt like it was going to drop out.
Yeah.
And so I'd hear these players say, and I'd say, people say, you know when you might want to quit? Is you get up for 5 years and you go, chance of rain, you go, oh, please rain. So you don't,
I want to get rained out.
but I still had a passion for it. And you go, and all that, 2 years ago, I had to have both knees replaced.
Yeah.
So even all the plan I tried to take, had them both replaced. They're good. They're never going to be the same.
No.
So when they here, you'd have like 30-year-old knees. Well, structurally they may be that way, but they don't feel that way. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I do, but I'm older. Then I got Lyme's disease.
Oh,
And
geez.
we have really pulled back because I've people and around me really close with poor health. We really pulled back. I haven't been to a game in 2 years. I don't eat out. I've been in 2 restaurants in 2 years. We still get our groceries at the store. We still leave them outside for a while. I still do all. I've really pulled back. But in that pulling back, it has given me more time to work on some more inner stuff. It's given me more time for prayer and meditation. It's given me more time with my wife, who I absolutely adore, and seeing what she's walking through in her faith and all that kind of stuff. It helps me because all my plans, I did not plan in my life having replaced knees. I did not plan on by pulling back getting Lyme's disease, which I had. I didn't plan on getting COVID. And I have learned something. I am not grateful for any one of those 3 things.
Right.
Learned things through it. And even here, with the losing the game and all that destiny stuff, this wasn't destiny. That was my will. And so then that's another thing that helps me adjust quicker. Go, maybe this year wasn't for us. Maybe it's for someone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, I get to back you a little bit and support you a little bit and be happy for my friends instead of looking at what I didn't get, because we've had it's still been an amazing franchise to be a fan of. And then this have ownership what nobody else can do.
Yeah.
And inside relationships and to get to know people, get to know the person instead of that. But that's why I even say sometimes hanging at the fence. I've gotten to know some players that go, wish I didn't get to know. Wish I would have had my idyllic thoughts.
Right. Kept that in my mind.
And then other hand, people like Bart Starr, Jerry Kramer, Amon Green I've gotten to know, Chris Jackie, some of these guys I've gotten to know personally. And you go, man, I'm really glad I got to know these guys. Especially someone like, and I don't want to, Amon Green has had some press come out that's been slanted one way, but they don't tell the other side of the story.
Right.
I mean, guy, he lives in Green Bay. This is an all-time leading rusher of the Green Bay Packers with every running back we've ever had. If he'd have been there all the time his whole career, he'd have obliterated. And that guy was fast, and the pile always went.
Always move forward, yep.
Yes, he had some fumbles, but if you look at his numbers versus how many carries and per carry, it isn't. But, people, once people get that vision, oh, he's a fumbler. No, he wasn't. And when he did, it was usually trying to get that extra bit.
He was fighting for more yardage, yeah.
So it's just an interesting process. But Bart is one of my favorites of all time, and that's why after with the whole Favre thing that I went to that jersey, just because I don't have to worry where he's retiring. He's retiring a Packer.
Right.
We have no idea where Aaron's going, and I don't know why these guys. I didn't walk around my company. I knew for the last couple of years I was going to retire.
Yeah.
But I didn't my boss's face.
No. Because it wasn't about you.
Bringing this up, and just because they stick a mic in your face, you don't have to answer it.
Exactly. They can't edit what you don't say.
And conversely, they can splice what you say and make it different too.
Exactly. And that's the wedge, the God Family Packers, right? When it's about you, and I get like what we were talking about earlier, like they've only got this small window that they need to get in, cash out, and get out. But when it becomes about you, you lose sight of the important things, you know. And that's not just about football; that's about everything. When it comes about you and your marriage, what happens to your marriage usually doesn't go very good. When it comes about you and your work, what happens to your work? The job usually, kind of falls apart. So I think you have to keep those kinds of things in that type of perspective about, okay, this is a team thing. We are a married couple. It's about us. It's not about me.
Right.
And you get the famous Kobe Bryant said, there's no I in team. Yeah, but there's a me in there. And yeah, a team is a collection of individuals, but no individual can do anything on their own, especially in a team sport like this, because what was that? I forget that movie where the quarterback, any given Sunday, the quarterback's running his mouth about how great he is, and the offensive line decides they get tired of listening to it, so they hike the ball and stand up and turn, and he just gets clobbered. Well, how great are you now? You have to remember that there's a system of support, and when you make it about you, the system of support suffers. That's how I've
Yep.
always seen it. So I don't know. I hear the rumors about Rodgers going to Denver or Rodgers going to Pittsburgh, and I hope he stays a Packer. To me, and I read an article where Eli Manning had actually reached out to him about how important it was for him to just be a New York Giant. Even with Roethlisberger, he's never worn another jersey in the NFL. And I think there's players that have earned that right. And I think Rodgers is one of them. I thought Favre was one of them, but then again, separate locker room, me over team. He did get his vindication with me though when he let Minnesota down that one last time. He built them up, and then threw across the middle and got picked, and they just. So I was okay with him after that, but that was a betrayal to a lot of Packer fans. Like you were saying, you quit wearing the Favre jersey and brought the Bart Starr jersey out.
And I just said, that fight is here, and it put a lot more heat on Rodgers, and it was just tough. And I just said this. I said, I don't care what you say. You just he. I think I could even got along if he went to the Bears. I had struggled when he was going to leave anyhow. And when he went to Jets, I said, good. But then when he did that retirement thing, I said, this is a move. I know where he's going
Yep.
right then. And I just said, they're just certain things, you know, they're just, I would say, here's a line I put. If you don't believe it, it'd be like seeing Derek Jeter in a Boston Red Sox
Red Sox uniform. Yeah.
Just, there is no way he would have the name that he had that way. And he just went over there. And I'll tell you, I too would go to the games over there. And I don't, because I'm around these guys, I hear it so much. I don't even say the Bears still suck anymore because I just see that's almost the first go-to a lot of times. And even that one's a lot funner. Or that, where's your championships? Because, and so I was over there at one of my first tailgates there with the Viking World Order. And I was talking with people. And finally this guy walked up and says, you're not too bad of a Packer fan because you're the first one that not only have you been here 2 hours, most Packer fans within 5 minutes are talking about trophies and got it in our face.
Yeah.
Just said, I just learned how we all have our sore spots. And, this is what I just didn't say. If you get me going, well, I'm pretty good. You start talking 2015 NFC Championship game in Seattle. I don't want to talk about it.
Right.
I'm not upset about it, but that's one for sure. We had that game.
Yeah.
But I was at that Viking thing when I was talking with that friend there. There's every now and then they had a little doll dressed up.
Yeah.
And they had the Viking uniform on, and then it had a 4 on, and he had a sign. He loved us last.
Oh. Ouch.
If I could have taken that thing and burned it up, I would have. But
Yeah.
then when he retired here, I put up a couple that said, "No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
He last." But there's funny things in humor too. There are some ha-has with humor. There's some barbs with humor. There's some pain with humor. So there's a lot of things that go in with humor and all that. So, and you just learn to adjust with it. But this team thing, and that's the thing is too, back in the day of the glory days when they didn't have choices and they didn't have options and free agent wasn't there, plus you were going to have to work in the off season and getting into the playoffs meant more money.
Yeah.
There was a lot more incentives for to be that team. Where now most of these guys in the playoffs are taking a pay cut.
Yeah.
They're not getting more money, and the money they make is so unreal that a guy can say, "Yeah, I'm not showing up for training camp." Well, that's a $500,000 hit. Yeah, no big deal. How many of us would take a five?
None of us would.
$1,000 hit, let alone a 50, let alone 500,000.
Yeah.
So that's where it just causes it to be. And then you're this guy in the face of any team. You know, you go anywhere. You get to go to. You don't wait in line.
No.
You got trying to buy you things. You got people trying to do things. You do have groupies. You have, and it's impossible to stay the same guy if you don't have good accountability. And I just think a lot of times when you get these entourages, they're all yes people.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I agree with that 100%.
And that's why it's good to have good people in your life and people that can say, what you know, just be able to ask the tough questions. And the more tougher the questions are, I'll say this: there's sometimes I don't want to answer the tough questions. We're not talking about that.
Yeah.
But you know, with people that you're close, yeah, you got to, and it is good to have those questions and be able to explain why you do some things. And so anyhow, it's a lot of fun still. It's an entertainment. It helps break up the day. You know, we do know no matter what. Yeah, if your team wins or not, come end of February, you go,
Yeah.
I got free weekends now.
Yep. Let's go camping. Let's do something.
But I have done a lot. You know, I've done a lot more with fantasy football and some stuff, and I've pulled back and I've had more teams. But I thought maybe with this year with COVID, I did a little bit more again, and I said, I want to have more free time because I can't. I'm not one of these guys. I'm in leagues that aren't big money or anything. One, it doesn't pay anything off, and it's just break. But I'm one of these guys. I'm just not going to get in it and just sit there and just put my lineup in.
Yeah.
It hours throughout the week to look up and pay attention, and I just said, yeah. Plus, there's just so much money in all that. That has changed the game. A lot of people think they're GMs because they have a fantasy football team.
Right.
And they do study it more because they want to, but the information's out there. I go back to the day when you had to look up in the newspaper and find stats and look it up, you know. And
now touch your finger.
Right there, you have to do a few rearranging and a few searches differently. But the money in the NFL, when I go back to thinking Paul Hornung and Alex Kress especially Hornung, got suspended for a year because they bet on their team to win.
Mm-hmm.
And comes out and will tell you how the product will perform beforehand, and the billions of dollars that go into betting and fantasy football, and and the league promotes it now.
Yeah, I was a little shocked by that campaign this year. Every podcast I listened to, we had a commercial for sports betting now.
Oh yeah, DraftKings and all them. It's just
yeah. I've avoided the fantasy football thing. I haven't gotten into that. I promised my wife. I monopolize too much of her time with football as it is. So I promised her, I'm not going to do fantasy football. You know, I want to root for my team and keep it simple, stupid. That's my motto.
So two things with that. There are times I've benched a guy when we're playing, even though he might be on my team, and I do not want to be rooting for him.
Right.
And I've won some leagues. But I've gotten to a point too where I've stopped I don't follow. I've gotten less and less in following other sports, even college, just because football's taken up so much. This year, with other fans in the Pro Football's Ultimate Fan Association, we're in a league, and I came down the last game, and I was in the championship game against a friend, and I had the Bears defense and the Packers defense, and all the stats said the Bears are going to have the better game.
Uh-huh.
Not winning a championship because of the Bears defense.
Not going to happen.
Not happening. And I said, besides, we're coming back. We're getting better. We're strong. And so that was week 17, and I started the Packers. The Packers got me 6 points. I would have started the Bears, would have gave me 21, and I would have won the league. I did not win the league, but I could walk up my first. There's no way I was going to win something. I have to give credit to you, Bear fans.
Right. I didn't win the league, but I slept like a baby that night.
I was true.
Yeah.
I was true.
What have you sacrificed?
Exactly. And the guy that wins, I'll tell you, I'm going to give him a hard time because he had Emmett. He's a Cowboy fan, and he didn't have his starter in.
Oh.
You want to win it, and you don't even have your own. You don't have your own guy in.
See, who's the truer fan at this point?
That isn't the point, but it's kind of the point.
Yeah, that's totally yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that, but it's nice to hear. Oh man, well that's a good time, man. I'm glad we got to be able to connect again, and
yeah,
you know, I apologize again about not having the wherewithal or the equipment to do this right the first time, but
well, man, we were just supposed to spend more time together, getting to know each other.
yeah, that's what I told my wife. I'm like, that conversation was just meant for us. Then get to kind of know each other, and that's kind of my goal in doing this. Like, I want to meet other Packer fans. I want to branch out, and you know, I got the feelers out for a couple guys, and we'll see what happens.
And so that's the kind of thing. That's what I said. When I used to go to mini camps, there were certain people I got to know out there. When I used to go up, what I said, just hang at the fence. There was one guy I got to know. This guy, the Packers would bring somebody in that night before, and he would have 3 or 4 articles and could tell you all about the guy. The guy just knew everybody, and that's probably when I got to know the Packers the best, was being up there. Then there was Fan Fest, and you got to see people there. Then there was the tailgate tour, and you'd get to know people there. And then the games and the tailgates, and so you would just get to know different people at some of these different events and the relationships that you had.
Yeah.
See, one is when I was going up hanging at the fence, got to know a friend named Ryan, and Ryan was a high school student coming hanging at the fence, and then he got less and less doing it, and then he was a Marquette student, and that's in Milwaukee. But I'd see him at the fence. Now he's got a full career teaching and coaching and stuff, and we're still staying connection.
Yeah.
And then all hanging at a fence, you know, and you get to know some people like that, and you don't know how it lasts. I've gone to some different events, and now I have, but Will's Northwood Inn, a huge Packer, Badger, Blackhawk bar in Chicago, right near Wrigley Field, and it's huge, and it's all made up with deer antlers and moose and deer, like it's northern Wisconsin, and there was for a number of years in a row, I was taking photos with a couple of kids as they were growing up, and you could just see them growing through the years.
Yeah.
Well, so was all that kind of stuff. Some of these relationships, and the guy I think I told you about was Green and Gold in Utah. Jim Cooper, he's there, and I've gotten in. Sometimes we talk. Sometimes Joey T from Die Hard Pack fans, right? You get to know some of these guys, and you get to meet a lot of different people that are part of your life, and you get to know each other. And then when you go through some ups and downs, you get to know who they are. I got a friend that I've only met at Green Bay because of tailgating. He grew up in northern Wisconsin. He lives in St. Louis. He drives. He's been doing it for years. Comes to the home games.
Wow. That's a commitment.
So yeah, it's just getting to know people better. And here's the thing: is my memory has never been good with names because we moved every year, just always moving, and sometimes my memory now, but. I'll say so. I'll meet somebody 2 or 3 times, even at a tailgate, but they'll walk up, take a photo, and that gets to be a blur in my mind.
Right.
But if I talk with you, then I can get more. That registers with me, and you get to know each other, right?
Yeah. You actually have a connection with somebody, and that's what I think that's what makes sports fandom so fun. You know, I can't go anywhere where if I'm wearing gear where I don't get a Go Pack Go. My wife will joke. She's like, "You just find friends everywhere you go, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know." We were walking through Costco, and I had my Favre jersey on one time, and this guy's wearing the bright orange Urlacher jersey, and we're crossing. You know, we're doing the aisle run where we're just crossing in the aisle, and like the 3rd time, my wife says we're not allowed to brawl in the middle of the aisle, and he's like, "Yeah, it's probably not a good idea." And I just sat and talked to that guy for a second. You know, there's just something about that rivalry, about sports, about that camaraderie. It's fun. And when you can keep it fun and keep it in perspective, man, I think it's a healthy thing to have.
And you get some different perspectives, right?
Totally.
I'll tell you one. I would be at a Packer game, and we'd be playing the Cincinnati Bengals, and there'd be a guy with a Bears jersey on. I'm going, what?
What are you doing?
It doesn't make sense to me. And two examples. One is I know a guy that's a big Viking fan, lives in Chicago. He has season tickets. He always wears his Viking jersey. But he said, "This is the way I guarantee that I can get a home game to watch the Viking Bears game."
Yeah.
Okay, I can think of it that way. That's cool. And then I said, other people go, "Yeah, I root for my team, but I'm still a big NFL fan. I like watching games.
Yeah.
Here to be uh, poking anybody, but hey, I got a ticket. I get to come to a game. I like it. I'm displaced anyhow, so I'll come here, but I'm still going to represent my team." I go,
Yeah.
I thought of it that way, but yeah.
Yeah. I'd wear a Packers jersey to a Broncos Raiders game. Wouldn't bother me a bit.
I saw a post on Facebook where at a Cincinnati game, there was a Packer fan there watching the game, but she was all decked out in her Packer gear.
Yeah. Got to represent no matter where you're at, man. That's
And I used to have a road job and I used to travel a lot. And that's the same thing, man. That was, you meet people all the time because as a whole, people do want to connect.
yeah.
And, and so all of a sudden they see that. And it isn't, again, now some people can do it to be, to, to separate, but it really is cool when you walk around, you meet somebody, you just say hi, maybe say a little chat. And every now and then, sometimes a relationship forms out of that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Hey, before we wrap up, though, I wanted to ask how your wife's holding up. How's she doing?
Kenny, I'm telling you what, I married an amazing woman for me, and I am not the most romantic guy. And I'll tell you this: I don't know if I believe in love at first sight, but when I met my wife, I really liked her, and I hadn't had a relationship last more than 6 months, and we pretty much, this goes way back to before cell phones, and we pretty much have talked every day of our life.
Wow.
And there are times I absolutely love her, but there's sometimes my attitude, and I'll want my way and dig in. And there's sometimes I have gone days without even being able to talk to her. But I've never not loved her. And I'm telling you, watching her walk through this, and her faith is rubbing off even more on me.
Yeah.
Luckily, yeah, she's not getting sick from it. She's a little more tired, but man, she is upbeat. She has got faith that God's will be done either for this life or the next. And it's just, and she was raised up. She just had a lot of fear. She was a very sickly kid, and
Yeah.
strong. She's strong. She's got so. And I'm not talking. She's not an in your face strong or that kind. She just knows that she's going to learn through this, and she knows that God's there. Let me give you one example.
Okay.
I've gotten a lot better with that kind of stuff too, and believe it. But she was in there, and she's also volunteered to be part of the research on breast cancer. So there's some days she goes and has chemo, and it's 4 hours, getting it all, the
Yeah.
prep. And then the next day, within 24 hours, they want to go in and take a sample out to be able to test to see how this affects and help others. So I'm proud of her for wanting to do that. Second time she had to go into that, that's interns. And this kid is visibly shaking.
Mm.
He's nervous. And he's now got to take this sharp thing and put into your breast and take some
Tissue out.
I said, "What do you do?" She goes, "Oh, I prayed for him."
Wow.
I would probably say, if those hands don't settle down, they ain't touching this.
Yeah, you need to calm down, buddy. I'm not going to let you near these things.
But he has to have the experience, right? And
Yeah.
it wasn't any more different. It was just kind of nerve-wracking at first. But so I say, man, if you can do that when somebody's taking some flesh from you, there's something working in your life. And she definitely loves the Lord, and it just has been. I'm sorry to see her go through it. I'm much better if I can see some physical stuff different. I mean, I know that's, you just never know what somebody's going through, right?
Right.
If she on and walking around, you wouldn't even know. Or a friend of ours, a high school friend who went through breast cancer, sent her a wig. You wouldn't know. But when she takes that stuff off and to see almost no hair, that makes that makes you look a lot older and a lot feebler, but she's not.
Yeah.
It's been, thanks for asking. And that's the thing I struggle with. I don't like to share all sorts of things, but if it can help others, then it's kind of cool. Give hope to others, that's kind of cool. But I put it on Facebook because I don't want to have all my business. I'm not looking for sympathy, but man, I want prayers.
Absolutely.
I believe in prayer.
Yeah, absolutely. I do too. I do too, and we've been praying for us since we talked
Yep.
last, and we're glad you
Thank
guys are you're hanging in there and doing good. And hey, man, I look forward to getting to know you better and just talking throughout the time. And I can't wait for next season to start. And we get out. I'm gonna try to get out there with my wife for a game. We're gonna definitely look you up, and
Let me know.
yeah, we'll let you know, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming back on. Appreciate you showing me that grace.
I'm gonna have to figure out what the next issue you'll say is, so you have to call me back again.
Yeah, I'm gonna come up with something, Steve. So you just I'll be like, it was kind of glitchy, and we might have to do this again.
But I'm this kind of guy. I use the sports system 24/7. I do stuff in recovery circles for people that with drug and alcohol issues. I'll take a phone call anytime, and I tell people if I can answer, answer. If I can answer and I got to get going, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
But if I can't, I call back. I'm pretty good. So hopefully we can stay in contact. And it sounds like, but I don't want to be presumptuous. It sounds like for you now after COVID, even though your kids are busy and gone, your two children and your wife and you are doing well, right?
Yeah, we're doing good. So we got five between us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we
Okay.
got five between us. So I had two, she had three. We got
Yeah.
married, became the Bastine bunch, is what we call us. But so yeah, I've got one that's old. She just turned 28, lives in Florida with her family. Got one that's 23, lives in Nevada with hers. And then, like I said, I got the daughter that's out at U of M, law school in Michigan. My boy's at the U, and then baby girl, she's 18. She's still at home, but she's graduating high school. Yeah, so we're gonna be empty pretty soon, and we'll have a lot of time to travel on our hands. So we're definitely gonna try to make it out there.
Well, at least you got family, but that's the hard part when family disperses, right?
Yeah,
My dad was from the South, and his whole family, there were 9 of them, they were spread all over the South and Southwest. Well, even one went up the East. So, and I got an aunt up in Minnesota, so they're spread all over.
yeah,
So I was just really very displaced. Where my wife and I both were grew up around here, had our core families. Now she had a little bit of her extended family here. We moved away once for 4 years, but we were always here, so it was good that all our siblings. It was easier when all our siblings are here, and then also especially as our folks aged and going through that
Yeah.
we're all together.
yeah. It makes it nice. It makes it nice to have that. It is kind of tough when they're spread out a little bit, but it's good times. It's definitely
All right.
good times, man. So we'll look you up. Thanks again, Steve, the owner, for putting forth the effort, man. I really appreciate you, man. We're praying for Fran, and go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go! Hey, I grew up in the '78. We'll get them next year, buddy.
We'll get
Go
'em.
Pack, go!
Go Pack, go. All right, bud. Thanks.
Later.
Bye.